On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by First Fidelity Bank, we preview OU West Virginia with our good buddy Dusty Dvoracek. Dusty will be on the call for ESPN this weekend, so we get his insight on how the Sooners and Mountaineers match up. We also preview Oklahoma State-Baylor. In the National College Football Roundup, we bring you the latest college football news, including the Big Ten catering to Ohio State, and we preview the marquee games of the weekend. We give you our winners and losers of the week, and wet the beak with Sunday night football between the Steelers and Bills. To finish up, we discuss how Oklahoma law enforcement is cracking down on the scum of the earth. Yes, we are talking Porch Pirates and Keepin It Local. Please download and subscribe to the podcast. Rate it 5 stars and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right? Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown.
Well, it's Friday and we're getting tore up down to the river in the back of Fred's truck. Remember I asked you, you said it was alright. Go get juice down by the riverbed tonight. So it's late now.
It's a beautiful Thursday, December 10th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by First Fidelity Bank. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. Now, we're recording this on Wednesday night. I am currently watching OU get smacked by Xavier, so we're not even going to talk about that, Ted. But we've been down this road before. We thought we were going to make the trip to Morgantown a couple weeks ago. We did not. Is the game going to happen? We filmed a TV show. We filmed we put the podcast out. We did everything, Teddy. And I'm starting to get similar vibes this week from some of the things I'm being told by people that are close to the West Virginia program. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I don't either. I just want to play this football game with both teams at their best. Full strength, let's go. But I don't know. Here we are on Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and it's starting to be questionable. I hate it. I really hate it. I don't know, man. I wish I had an answer for you. It's up to the testing gods at this point, I guess.
Yes, a few people from West Virginia reached out to me and told me that the situation is rather dicey and they should know sometime on Thursday. So at least that prevents us from getting on a plane, Teddy, before the game gets called off. If it does get called up, but it kind of sounds from what I'm being told that it is about a 50-50 chance this game happens, which, I mean, coin flip, I'll take those odds, but I wish it wasn't that way. I wish we were hearing some better things from our connections there in Morgantown, but we'll remain hopeful, right?
I'm hopeful. I hope it happens. I want it to happen. I hope these football teams want it to happen. I mean, I know we're in this year, 2020, it's cool to cancel games and, they don't matter anyways. Let's go ahead and postpone them or put them off until next year. But I want it to be played, man. I think it's been impressive what the Big 12 has done. I'd like to see him close this thing out right. Obviously, I mean, the last thing you want to do is put in jeopardy the Big 12 championship game. I mean, that's the most important. But I don't know, man. I hope this thing happens. I hope we get good results back from West Virginia. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, me and you both. Now, we've got our good buddy, Dusty Dvoracek, who I believe has the record when it comes to appearances on this podcast. There's no doubt he's got the record. But he's on the call for the game for OU West Virginia. So we previewed that game with him, and it's really, really good. Dusty does such a great job with this preparation when he's on the call for a game. But do want to get to a little OU news first, and that's brought to you by Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer. Guys, stop acting like you're too manly and just accept it. Hard seltzers are amazing, and there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and at the tailgate. It's made in Oklahoma and is absolutely delicious. Will and Wiley is customized for the Oklahoma lifestyle. Go find it right now in a store near you, and go follow them on social media at Will and Wiley. If you're drinking some because of us, tag us in your social media posts to let them know. So, came out this week, obviously, we talked about it, but Shane Beamer, the new head coach at South Carolina, but Shane is going to remain with this team through the Big 12 championship. He said it when he was being asked questions by the South Carolina media after his introductory press conference. And Ted, this kind of tells, I think it tells everyone, but it also tells South Carolina fans and the people around that program everything they need to know about Shane Beamer. I expect nothing less from him. Of course, he's doing the classy and right thing. I mean, what else would we expect from a guy like Shane? He's the man. Is
that the right thing? I mean,
I think so.
I'm torn. If I were in his position, I would hate to bail on my players. It's more than just a job. It's, there's a kinship you develop with your coach and with the players, and you've got goals to accomplish together. So I would hate to bail mid-season, but I would also hate to not get off to the proper start with my new job and my new players that are relying on me to put them in the best position. Now, I guess this year it does help that the recruiting situation is you can't see anyone, right? So that helps that you can do it all by phone. So I think he's making the right decision, even though the fan base in South Carolina is not happy about it. I think it is the proper thing to do.
I think it's the right thing to do, and this is why. If you're going to be a coach that preaches finishing, right? If you're going to tell guys, hey, finish all your classwork, finish every block, finish every route, finish every play, finish the sprints in the summer, finish the reps in the weight room, then you got to finish what you started. That's how I view it. If you are going to preach finishing, then you got to finish the shit in your life.
Yep.
And I know it's not perfect for South Carolina fans, but the hay's kind of already in the barn for their recruiting class. Let's be honest. I mean, how much can Shane do right now with that little amount of time? But I just think it sends the proper message to his players at South Carolina to, hey, I'm a guy that finishes. I'm going to tell you, hey, you got to finish everything you do. That's how we're going to turn this thing around. That's just how I see it. And you can talk about the relationships and the loyalty and all those things. I also think that sends the right message to those players that, he is going to be invested in them. And I think he's doing the right thing. There's no doubt.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree 100%. And, really in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much Oklahoma, typically, if we were a college football playoff team, obviously, but it's also good because whenever he's going to be standing on the sideline, guess what's going to happen? The camera's going to pan to him whenever he's over there, and the broadcasters are going to say, well, there's Shane Beamer, new head coach at South Carolina, blah, 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 go into, what a good job he's done here and his track record, where he's been and what he wants to do there at South Carolina. So it's like it's free advertisement for you and your program, and it'll be the same thing. Like it's like the Brady Manick deal. Look at this kid; he looks like Larry Bird from back in the day. Every single group that calls the game, every game has to point that out. It'll be the same thing with Beamer. It'll be a storyline that they're going to cover throughout the game, and it's free ad time for South Carolina. So I think it's a bonus.
Yeah. How often do they talk about South Carolina during the Big 12 championship game?
I don't even think they talk about South Carolina during their own football games. That's how bad they've been.
Okay, one more piece of OU news, and it's something I've noticed. Like, we haven't been seeing Austin Stogner on the sideline during games, right? And go back, several weeks ago, right? Takes that shot to the leg, and I don't think I've seen the kid since. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe his year's over. I don't know anything, but I'm starting to think, because we were talking about him the other night, right? When me, you, Toby, and Chad were doing the show. And I was just thinking, you asked me about him, like, how much is this offense missing him? I was like, yeah, a lot. And then I was like, wait, when's the last time we've seen Austin Stogner, like proof of life? You know what I mean? I don't know. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm starting to think that, moving forward, we shouldn't expect him to be back. I don't know. I think it's just a little bizarre.
Yeah, I wish I had something to add. I really don't.
I know it's weird, right?
Because whenever he took the shot, he got up, he walked in at halftime, because it was right before half, right? And
that's why it was so weird, because he came back and he was on street clothes on the sideline, right? And he was there and he still had that limp, and I was like, that doesn't look
even
good.
Before that, though, he came out and got on the bike. He was on the bike.
Right.
So I don't know. That's weird to see something like that where they would put him on the bike, but then here we are. It's been a long time ago, man.
And he hasn't been seen. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I hope he's all right. That's all I know, because he's a damn good football player. Teddy, you and I, we've talked about it a lot. We think next year's the year. Whatever's going on, don't rush that kid. Have him ready to go for next year, because that's when we think this team, if everyone's coming back, they've got all their guys, they stay healthy, that's when they can go to the college football playoff and win a game. So don't rush it, Austin Stogner. I have no idea what's going on, man, but take care of yourself. Need you next season. So I don't know, but it's gotten to a kind of a weird point. Now, let's get to the OU West Virginia preview, and that's with our man Dusty Dvoracek, and here it is. It is our pleasure to be joined by our good buddy, Dusty Dvoracek. You can catch Dusty on the call of this game on ESPN. You can also catch him on News 9, and for a few more weeks, you can catch him on the Sports Animal. Dusty, how we doing, buddy?
Dude, awesome. It is always a pleasure to be with you fine gentlemen, and man, I'm fired up. This will be my second Oklahoma game to do on TV. I did the Baylor game a couple of years ago, and the second one, ABC, coming up this week. And I already know, though, I'm going to go ahead and preface it by saying I'm sure to make a lot of people mad. That's okay. That's okay, because the West Virginia people are probably clearly going to be upset with me, right? Because I'm an OU guy. Regardless of what I say, I'm beat before I start. And then there's going to be OU people that I'm going to call it how I see it. If something's wrong or West Virginia does something right, I'm going to praise them. I'm going to talk good about Neil Brown, and that's not going to jive with them. So as excited as I am to get an opportunity to call my alma mater's game on ABC, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a rock and a hard place, but I'm excited and can't wait for this game on Saturday.
I mean, it's always like that anyways. And I know I never watch the TV broadcast of our games, obviously, because we're on radio doing it. Right. But I always see on Twitter that everyone every week is pissed off at the TV crew. So, I mean, I don't know what you're going to do, man, but it'll be fun nonetheless.
You know what I've come to find out doing this, and it's different on the home on a home broadcast, right? Because it's a home broadcast. You're catering to your fans, like they love it. It's what they know what they're getting tuning in. One thing I've learned, and not even necessarily so much as me, but like to your point, one of the most thankless jobs out there on social media is being a broadcaster, because they always suck. Very rarely are they good, are they praised, but boy, you mess anything up, they are quick to call you out. So
no one bitches about my team but me.
That's right. That's exactly how it goes.
I can say that. He can't. Okay, I do want to look at this matchup, and I want to start with West Virginia's offense, because Oklahoma's defense, Dusty, I'm sure you've watched every snap they've played on tape. They've got a ton of momentum coming into this one, playing exceptionally well at the defensive line, especially Isaiah Thomas, Perion Winfrey, Ronnie Perkins. But what do you see from this West Virginia offense? Do they have the type of offensive line that can handle those guys up front?
Especially going back now, they played their worst game against Iowa State. I give Iowa State a lot of credit, but the edges were a problem. Both right and left tackle really got worked on against West Virginia. I think they're a solid group. I actually would say they're probably one of the better offensive lines in the league. They've done a nice job paving the way for Letty Brown, who's a really solid, tough, hard running back, catches the ball well out of the backfield. But, Iowa State's got a couple of good edge rushers, and I would say in the ilk of Oklahoma's, kind of in a similar vein, and they gave them all kinds of problems. I mean, Daggy had no time. He was sacked several times. He was hit a bunch. So I'm wondering if we're going to see more max protection from West Virginia's offense. Chippers on the way out. My guess would be, based off the way they played last week, and even looking, at some of the other games previously, though they played their worst game, I think they're going to probably try to give those guys help. I'm expecting quick game. I'm expecting some max protection, and I'm definitely thinking that running back on the way out en route to the route, they're going to have to help because, let's face it, man, Oklahoma right now, they are playing at a really, really high level. It's a fun group to watch. They get off the football. Their movement, obviously pre-snap but post-snap, the slants, the stunts, the variety of things that Calvin Thibodeau and company are mixing in, it gives offensive lines issues, and I would imagine they're going to give those guys some help up front.
No, that game, you mentioned it wasn't their best. It got away from them. The Iowa State game did. So they did kind of have to abandon the run there as they started to fall behind pretty quickly. But talk about that running game a little bit. Couldn't hardly get it going against Iowa State with the rush for 75, 80 yards. But it's been way better than it was a year ago. They were worse in the Big 12 last year, but this year with Letty Brown, they found some stuff. And whenever they have had success, where have you seen those gains come?
He's good in between the tackles, Ted. Good zone runner. I think he's got quality vision and burst through the hole. I like their tight end, 87, Michael Laughlin. Really good as a wing, inline tight end, gets up to the second level. He can get some movement on undersized defensive ends, and I think that helps him quite a bit in the run game. So, they've been solid. And I think that as a – I don't know if one guy in particular up front stands out to me. I think that they work well together as a group. And Letty Brown, he's the bell cow by far and away. They also see 20 Alex Sinkfield. He's a smaller, more of a scat back, make you miss out in space, especially third down situations. They'll put him back there because he's a little bit more elusive. But Letty Brown, I think he's just a really good, solid physical back, tough to tackle, lowers his pads on contact. But the biggest thing for me, I see vision and I see burst through the hole. When it opens up, he's able to hit it downhill, and he's really put together. He'll likely, unless Oklahoma holds him in check, which they have everybody, good chance he'll go over 1,000 yards so far in 10 games this season. So I would say as big a factor as anything to this offense. Obviously, Jarrett Dagy's had a nice season, but this offense goes as Letty Brown goes.
Dusty, I like some of the skill guys from West Virginia. I like Winston Wright. He's kind of emerged as the go-to guy for Dagy.
Quick, elusive.
Yeah. Bryce Ford Wheaton has done some good things. TJ Simmons, now that he's back healthy, right, making some big plays for them. But we haven't seen Oklahoma give up a ton of big plays in the passing game. The thing that worries me for Oklahoma's defense, we kind of saw them struggle against Iowa State and against Kansas State, is when teams can get in big personnel, right? And they shift in motion, they make it difficult with all those things that OU defense wants to do from a movement standpoint. Is West Virginia capable, in your mind, of getting in bigger personnels and maybe attacking OU that way? Or is it more of a situation where we're concerned about those skill players like Wright, like Wheaton, like Simmons?
Not in the throw game. It's not really what they want to do. You'll see some 12 in run situations, but that's not the way they're going to try to attack you. This isn't Iowa State. They're not going to try to duplicate or replicate that. I'll tell you a guy you didn't mention is 13 Sam James. I like him a lot. He was a breakout guy as a freshman last year. He was fantastic. He just, I don't know exactly what's going on chemistry-wise, because really, that was Daigie's go-to guy a season ago. I did 2 West Virginia games last year, and I thought he was just going to burst onto the scene this year. Another guy, Sean Ryan. He's the biggest of these receivers. You'll see him work the middle of the field. He hits a lot of the verticals. They also get him involved in the screen game. I would say, aside from Letty Brown, the strength, I would say, is the receivers. They've got some athletic dudes. They got some speed out there. You mentioned TJ Simmons. He's a former Alabama transfer. And, third down, a couple of fourth down situations, they're looking for him. And, he seems to do a good job finding soft spots in the zone. And he's got, pretty solid hands. So I think that you're going to see more, probably some 10 personnel, definitely 11 personnel. I'm not saying they'll never get in 12, but I would expect to see 3 to 4 wide receivers on the field quite a bit. They also go to empty. And one thing I've noticed as much as anybody I've seen this year, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions. Neil Brown's going to check and see exactly what you're in, show your hand, and, make you try to adjust defensively. And, window dressing, see exactly how you're going to play different things. But you're going to get a lot of that from these guys. That's a big part of what Neil Brown wants to do and a big part of this offense. One area, when Oklahoma goes with single high, when they get in cover 3, they'll run some 4 verts. And, Ted, I mean, you know as well as I do, that's where you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. If he has time, I think that's going to be the real key, making sure that you get that pressure so that some of those vertical routes can't open up down the field. But that would be maybe an area of concern for explosive plays down the field when they go 4 verts. If they catch them and cover 3, will you be able to get some linebackers and throwing lanes to make them maybe elevate those passes? That'll be definitely something we're going to watch for and see if Oklahoma can play good defense against.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I watched the West Virginia Iowa State game today, and ton of shift to empty, motion the running back to empty was a big part of their game plan. I'm curious how much they're going to go to that after they watch Baylor get their asses kicked in empty against Oklahoma. It looks good to spread a team out and try and take their defensive line out of it, but I'm curious because if they've got a good answer like we did against Baylor, then you're kind of left. There's nowhere to go.
I think it's indicative, Ted. That's not where I mean, and look, with this Oklahoma, let me see, I've got my stats here. This Oklahoma defense, what are they, 4th in the country in run defense? Let's see, 4th in the country at 88 yards. So as I say, you need to get Letty Brown going. You need to run the football. Like, to me, 11 personnel is where I would be trying to live and where I would be trying to, get some offense going. It's tough sled, man. I mean, the penetration that's created, the backers, the way they're fitting, coming downhill, it's tough. But I really feel that for West Virginia, they've got to establish a run game. Like, they have to. If they can't get Letty Brown going, if they can't run the football, it just seems to me that that's going to be a tough day.
I mean, I agree. I think it'll be the same but different as the Iowa State game played out because, they fell behind early and kind of had to abandon it, and that's probably why they ended up going empty a little bit more, trying to pass it a little bit more. But, Iowa State's got their unique defense, what they do, but that 3-man rush, and you were talking about it earlier, their tackles, I mean, Jaquan Bailey, McDonald kid, they were coming around the corners all night on them. So, I mean, what do you expect from Jared Daigie? Because for the most part of the season, capable arm, he's been smart with the football. They haven't done a whole lot. They've been able to lean on that running game, but it looks like Like, if he doesn't have the balance in that offense, he kind of turns into about every other quarterback we've seen in this league whenever he's under pressure and receivers are covered downfield. It's just not a whole lot you can do.
He can throw it. I will say that. I think he's got a good arm. He's not very mobile, right? That's not his game. They will move the pocket some. You'll see some semi-boot action. They'll get him on the side. He throws on the move pretty well. I mean, I don't think he throws as well as Spencer does, but he can make some accurate throws down the field on the move. But he's more of your, like you said, your prototypical pocket passer. And if he's got time, he can put the ball where he wants to. But yeah, that's not been really what they major in this year. It's really been, I give Neil Brown a lot of credit. They've had really good balance. They've been able to strike balance and not have to lean on one thing, not have to lean on the pass too much. And they've gotten, such good productivity out of Letty Brown. It's opened some things up. But if you know what's coming as a defensive lineman and you can pin your ears back, that's just not where West Virginia wants to be. Early down is going to be important. Third and long is not where this offense wants to be. And to your point, the way Iowa State got up on them, then all of a sudden you're in catch-up mode. You kind of get out of your game plan. You start doing things you don't want to. That's not where Seth Doege, I think, is going to be able to have success. So I do think it's key, staying in front of the chains for West Virginia, as well as, just not letting this game get out of hand. And I got to be honest with you, though. I expect West Virginia to play a heck of a lot better than they did against Iowa State. Like that game, and here's the thing I would say from the Oklahoma side. That's a false read, okay? That game is a false read. That's not who West Virginia is. They're a good football team, man. Like, I don't want to overstate it. They're not a great football team. They're a good football team. And you know what else? They're good at home. Like, they're 5-0 at home. They're 0-4 on the road. And it's interesting, right, because it's not like there's some massive crowd in Morgantown, but for whatever reason, they're playing better football on their home soil. Like the TCU game. I don't think TCU's a bunch of chumps. They played well against TCU. Now, on the flip side, you could say, well, TCU didn't play very well, but I thought West Virginia played extremely well. And listening to Neil Brown, and I don't get a chance to talk to him until Friday, they're embarrassed about the way they played. They're not okay with what they put out there. That's not where Neil Brown and this program had been building. For really, you go back to the end of last year, where they won 2 of the last 3 games on the road, and then it kind of had that burst onto the season this year. And aside from that game against Iowa State, they played everybody tight. All 3 of their other losses, they're in the game with a chance to win in the fourth quarter. So I only would caution to say for Oklahoma fans, for even those players, and I know the coaches know, but you know how it is as a player. You see that last game, like, oh, man, these guys aren't any good. They're better than what they put out there on tape. And I think defensively, we've talked all offense so far, especially on the defensive side. And I think part of it is that Iowa State is really hitting their stride right now, and Brock Purdy is in a comfort zone, best he's been all year. But defensively, this is a really good unit. They've got players at all 3 levels, and I really think that we're going to see the West Virginia team that they put on tape the first 8 games, as opposed to the one that they put on tape in Ames, Iowa last weekend.
You mentioned that defense. Even after that ass kicking they took, they're still number 1 in scoring defense in the conference. They're still the number 1 total defense in the conference.
Number 5 in the country, by the way. 5 in total defense, under 300 yards a game.
So even though they just took it on the chin, it's still a very good group, and it's led by that defensive line, right? You've got the Stills brothers. You've got the Mesidor kid coming off the edge. With what we just saw from Oklahoma's offensive line against Baylor, Dusty, how do you see this matchup going? OU's offensive line against that West Virginia defensive line?
I think they're going to challenge Oklahoma. Now, much like West Virginia, Lincoln Riley's not happy about his offense. That was the lowest, as you guys know. I'm saying things you already know, but the lowest output since he came here. Not as head coach, since he stepped foot on campus. And we talked to him yesterday, and I'm sure you guys heard the post game and his press conference. He ain't happy, okay? He's chomping at the bit to play this game. He's chomping at the bit to have this offense in particular functioning at a high level before they take that game in Arlington a week from now against Iowa State. And what was so surprising for me watching the tape, Baylor whooped them up front, man. I mean, took it to them. I was surprised. I hadn't seen that since probably Kansas State game for the Oklahoma offensive line. Maybe some against Iowa State. Some of that's Iowa State's good. I mean, they just got – and I don't want to take anything away from Baylor. You know what? Dave Aranda, for a 2-win team, they're still fighting. They're still playing. Give them credit. They came into Oklahoma going for it on fourth down. They came in with a mindset to win. But, man, you don't typically see a Bill Bedenbaugh offensive line get it given to them like that. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't protect. They were struggling with pressures. And you've got to think that West Virginia sees that, and they saw some stuff and they found some stuff, especially Petrie coming off the edge for Baylor. And they've got a similar guy in Tyke Smith who's going to play a very similar position. You know, he's not quite as compact as Petrie, but he's really good off the edge. And he's a dynamic player, 8 tackles for loss on the season. They play at, you know, it's that nickel. They call it the spear, but it's really just a nickel who can kind of almost be a linebacker at times. Tony Fields, this dude is a ball-playing Jesse. I don't know how much you've watched of him, Ted. This guy's all over the field, man. I mean, it's like he's just always in the shot. He's got, you know, very instinctive, plays with a high motor. He's always around the football. And, you know, Darius and Dante Steele, I think Dante, the younger brothers, are more talented. Darius is the older one, and he's had a little bit more productivity throughout his career. I just think Dante's a little more undisciplined, but both these guys are penetrators. They're going to get on edges. They're going to get up the field. They're going to make this, offensive line bend and really work. I'm really impressed with this Mesidor kid. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I mean, I'd heard about him, but when I watch him, the kid can play. And as I watched last week, I thought even Ely was really struggling with pressure coming off the edge. So, I mean, yeah, I think this is going to be a heck of a matchup because you've got two sides that are really good. You've got a defense that you can tell takes pride in who they are and the way they go about their business. And the same goes for Oklahoma's offense. And they're both coming off of their worst performances of the season. So you would expect and anticipate both those sides to have something to prove. And I can't wait to see how it unfolds on Saturday. You know, one thing I think in particular that I'm intrigued to see, and you know, we've all watched every snap of OU, but when I go back with a fine-tooth comb this week and I went back and I watched the last 4 games, one thing that just blows me away is I've never seen so much variety with the counter in my life. Lincoln Riley has taken the counter and he has morphed it into essentially a huge branch of their offense. I mean, they'll run it.
Biggest branch.
They'll run it they'll go GT, they'll go wing T, they'll go with the H-back and he'll move back across. And then off of each one of those, there's either a read keep, there's a bubble on the outside, there's an RPO built in. I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, I love it. Now, but my thought on it is with as much as West Virginia penetrates, kind of like Oklahoma, the negative plays they create, you know, those counters, they take some time. But also if you overcommit, it's going to open up some other things. So to me, that is a huge key in this game. Can Oklahoma, with what has become their bread and butter offensively, can they have success with their counter plays? You can't just say one counter because they have so many varieties of it. Can they have success with that, or with the penetration and with whatever game plan they have for the counters off the counter, if you will West Virginia be able to handle that? To me, that's as big a factor as we'll see in this game. And, you know, it's interesting, too, the more you watch Oklahoma, they don't throw it down the field a whole lot. Like, so much of what they do is predicated – then because the other thing is split zone, right? It's like they're 2 big plays, counter, split zone. And off the split zone, they have so much of their pass game integrated into it. And it's play-action pass, it's easy throws, and what's so key is they bludgeon you with this run game, and then all of a sudden they get you to overcommit, and then they set up easy throws for Spencer Rattler to his H-backs, to his running backs, to his tight ends, and it becomes extremely difficult to defend. So that, you know, they've got to get their running game going. They didn't really get it established against Baylor, and they probably got a bigger test against this West Virginia defense that, again, is going to come in with something to prove.
This is more of an Oklahoma question, and it's just building right off of what you're talking about there. You know, if you honestly look at it, 6 of the last 8 quarters, they didn't run the ball good at all, because the second and third quarter against Oklahoma State was really bad running the football. Got off to a really good, hot start. We all know that. And then, in the fourth quarter, whenever the game was decided, they were able to close it out. But 6 of the last 8 quarters, they haven't been able to run the ball well. And they tried and tried and tried against Baylor and couldn't get it going. So is this just an anomaly? Is this something that is motivation factor against Baylor maybe? Or I don't know what it is, because there for 2 or 3 weeks, whenever we first got Ramondre Stevenson back, we were rolling. But now it's starting to look like it did early in the season. So what do you think? Are we back to where we were kind of beginning of the year, or is this just a little hiccup?
Well, first of all, you have to remember, you got Ramondre back against Tech, and then he played
true.
Kansas.
Very true.
Kind of like the Baltimore Ravens last night against my Cowboys. That's a get-right game, okay? Ask Desmond Jackson. He went for 235 on the Red Raiders, okay? Again, not trying to kill Matt Wells' squad here, but let's face it. They've got some deficiencies in their run defense. It's a great question. I actually thought against Oklahoma State, they ran it well in the fourth quarter. I thought Ramondre pulled off some big, nice chunk runs, going back to that 99-yard drive to kind of cap the game off. I thought he was able to make some headway. I thought the beginning they were good, in the middle they weren't. Second, third, and then in the fourth, I thought they really were able to take hold and run the football effectively. I still think that they can run the football. I'm just, maybe it's to a fault. I believe that Coach Beatonbow and his guys are better than what they've showed, especially last game and at times against Oklahoma State. I think Ramondre Stevenson is a big, physical, tough guy to tackle. I don't think that's changing. I mean, you gotta put some shoulder, body, and it takes multiple guys to get him to the ground. I don't think that there's any of that that's fake. But I do think it's worth noting that they've had their struggles, and clearly they could not go in against Baylor. And again, to me, we talk so much about Letty Brown, like that's been the secret in the sauce. Even go back to the Texas game. That's really where I thought when they started to run the football. I thought in that game in particular, TJ Pledger, I thought that was his best game of the year. He was able to get going a little bit. And I thought that is where we saw this offense start to kind of hit their stride, take off. Even TCU, I thought they ran the football pretty effectively. So they need to run the ball. I think it opens up so much for their offense. And, we'll see. I'm anxious to find out, because it was a weird week, which was so weird for Oklahoma was they're losing coaches and players on defense. It wasn't really offense. And the defense played great, and the offense didn't play well. So that was kind of odd to me. But Lincoln did say that they didn't practice a whole lot. He didn't think that – he took it on the chin. He didn't think that they treated that week the way that they should. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise, and we'll find out this week. One other thing when I'm going through the tape, one of my favorite players on Oklahoma's offense is now? I bet you'll never guess.
Mikey Henderson.
It's Mikey Henderson.
I'm going to tell
you. I'm going to tell you what now.
This is the new Mikey Henderson fan club right here.
I know. Okay, see, I know, dude. Because we watch football, right? If you watch the tape, this dude, he's got it going, man. I mean, he is versatile. You can give him the ball.
I don't know what he is. I don't know how to classify him.
I don't either. I've got on my board here, versatile, use him as a running back, wide receiver, blocker, excellent skill set. And his role is increasing. I do think he's going to be able to go this week, which I think is huge. When they go two back, I think they're best. I think Oklahoma is best when Ramondre is in the game and Mikey Henderson's in the game, 29-3. And what I think makes that so difficult, both of them can run the ball. Like, you can hand the ball to Mikey Henderson, and he's like a running back. He's not just out there. Like, when you get Jeremiah Hall in the game, you've got at least somewhat of a better understanding idea of what might be coming. And Ted.
When they went with Mixon and Samaje, it's kind of that same what both of them can block well, both of them can run it well.
Except I would even say Mikey Henderson is a more skilled pass catcher out of the backfield than any of those guys. Like, he's got soft hands, catches the ball well, and he's obviously big guy, much like Samaje. He's probably 230, 235. And I got to tell you, coming into the year, I heard about Marvin Mims, right? We kind of knew about him. I heard about Anton Harrison. I heard about Seth McGowan. Nobody was telling me or talking about Mikey Henderson, who's this kid out of St. Louis, Missouri. And if you've taken notice, he obviously didn't play last week, but if you've taken notice, probably Tech, Kansas, really Oklahoma State, I thought he had a huge coming out party. If you're taking notice of the way Lincoln utilizes him, he is a weapon, and he is dangerous. And to me, I'm going to say that I think he could have a real impact on this game. When they get in their two-back stuff and they start running their split zone action, and whether it's him running the football, off the ball, or even, coming out of the backfield catching the football, if you're West Virginia, you better locate and identify number 3. He's going to hurt you.
Well, Dusty, we hope you have a great call, man. Hope you have a nice, smooth trip. Get into Morgantown and do us a favor and try not to test positive again. I know it was a false positive.
I'm already negative, bro. I got my test today.
You already got it?
I'm in.
All right.
In there like swimwear. Now, here's the question I have for you guys. What are the chances, and I probably shouldn't do this because it would be deemed unprofessional, but do you think there's any way I could sneak on the airplane and not have to go back to Pittsburgh and spend the night and fly back on Sunday? That would probably be frowned upon, right? I mean, I probably shouldn't do it. I'm sure with COVID as well, I'm not in their protocols, so they wouldn't let me. But, man, if I could get on that bird, I can't even tell you how much I would love that.
Did you ask?
No.
You should have just asked. I mean, what's the worst they could say? No, right?
If you're going to do it, you better show up in a hazmat suit, or they're not going to let you on that sucker. I'm just telling you that right now.
You guys get to fly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
only
yeah.
Because they're taking 2. This is the only time all year, though. It's because they're taking two birds.
Two birds?
Yeah, there's one for the players and one for, administration and radio bums.
Well, if you guys decide that you would like to hang out in Pittsburgh with this guy, I've got a sweet spot at the airport hotel, and we could have some good times. So that's the only downside to this little trip and opportunity to go out to Morgantown to call this game is can't get out, man. Can't get out. Even with a 12 a.m. kick, I can't get out until Sunday. So you guys will be sitting up having – what is that you guys have, the Will and Wiley? Is that the which, by the way, shout out over the summer, having some people over at the house after watching and listening to this fantastic podcast, I came to the realization, hey, there's some really good local seltzers, and I had to give it a try. And I must say, throughout the duration of the summer, there was some form of Will and Wiley in the Dvoracek fridge all summer. So well done by you guys, and tell them to continue making that fantastic concoctions that they have in those sweet little cans.
All right, Dusty. Appreciate it, man. We'll see you in Morgantown, okay?
Peace out, boys.
Well, Ted, always fun talking to our man, Dusty.
That's always good. Fantastic. I'm glad that he's going to be out on the call there in beautiful Morgantown, which I think we've got good weather, shockingly.
If the game gets played, the weather's going to be fantastic.
I know. It's going to be awesome.
That is rare. I assume it seems abnormally warm for December in Morgantown. But
now there's a cold front that's coming in, but it's not supposed to get there till Saturday night. Let's hope the thing happens quickly. But no, that was awesome by Dusty breaking down this football game.
All right, Ted, let's move on to Call Your Shot, and that's brought to you by Rock and Roll Tequila. Rock and Roll Tequila is the ultra premium tequila that hits all the right notes. It's won all kinds of awards for its superior taste and smooth finish. To find a store that has it, visit rockandrolltequila.com or check out their Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. This stuff is fantastic. If you don't want to take my word for it, maybe you'll listen to this guy.
This is Coach Bob Stoops. When you're a college football coach, it's important to have an eye for talent. The same holds true when choosing your tequila. When I tried Rock and Roll, I liked it so much, I decided to become a partner in this Oklahoma-owned company. Crafted in the highlands of Jalisco, Mexico, the smooth taste of rock and roll's triple distilled platinum, our añejo called Cristalino, and the incredible premium quality mango tequila are awesome. Our defiantly unique guitar-shaped bottles make it easy to find, and you'll love the ultra-premium quality and taste. No excuses. Make rock and roll your game day tequila. Tastefully rebellious, start the party with rock and roll.
And we asked you for your boldest prediction for OU West Virginia. And our favorite comes from Bean Boom's twin sister, at Bean Boom Sis on Twitter, which is a picture where they have made Bill Beanbo into what appears to be a woman.
Oh, my God. That's great.
Which is fantastic. But Bean Boom Sis says OU's defense will score a touchdown. That's what they've done in Morgantown lately. Teddy, when I saw this, I was like, wait, has the defense not scored a touchdown this year? And I was racking my brain, like scoop and score, pick six. I can't remember one. Now, I don't have the best memory anymore, but they must be due then, right?
I think they're due. They're definitely due. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, 2016, did Jordan Evans have an interception for a touchdown?
I don't know what year, but yes, he definitely scored in Morgantown.
And then in 18, I think Curtis Bolton picked one up and scored.
Correct.
So I don't know about 12 or 14. Did we score on defense in 12?
I played in the game in 2012. I have no idea.
There was so many points scored. There's no telling how we scored in that game. But no, I mean, the last couple of times we have, I like it. We need one. I mean, that's kind of what's missing. We've started to get the turnovers. They've started to come. Next is punching those points in and scoring on defense. And the way they're playing right now, honestly, wouldn't be that shocking with the type of pressure they're putting on the quarterback. That's whenever plays like that really start to happen.
Yeah, and I will say this about Jarrett Dagey. He can be a little late with his decision-making. He can be a little late with getting the ball out of his hand, and clearly a guy like Isaiah Thomas or Ronnie Perkins could get to him, but also he could throw it into coverage, and maybe the Sooners can take it the other way for 6. All right, a couple more things for local college football. Oklahoma State going to Baylor on Saturday. You look at it, and the Cowboys, all of a sudden, they've lost 3 of their last 5. And people are mad at Mike Gundy. His son is posting all kinds of stuff on social media defending him.
Feel bad for him.
It's getting weird, right? But this matchup this weekend, it feels like it is going to be a low-scoring affair because with all of Oklahoma State's offensive line issues, with it being unlikely that we see Chuba, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Tylan Wallace, but I wouldn't expect him to play. I'm not really sure where the production is going to come from offensively for the Cowboys, especially against that Baylor defense that looked pretty damn solid against OU. But also for Baylor, I don't really see where the offensive production is going to come against Oklahoma State's defense, even if Oklahoma State's defense is a little banged up. But, Teddy, when I look at this game, it has a recipe for being very, very boring. And I am not excited about this game at all.
Well, I think you're right. But here's the thing. This is the only way I can handicap this football game. If the Oklahoma State team that we played plays the Baylor team that we played, the Oklahoma State team is going to lose that football game.
That seems fair.
Right? I mean, I think there is – obviously Baylor's playing their best right now. Oklahoma State's playing their worst. I think there is a massive offset in motivation for this football game between Oklahoma State and between Baylor. Baylor, moral victory, say whatever you want. I know people hate that. I hate it too, quite frankly. But, I mean, Baylor has to feel pretty good about itself coming away from Oklahoma, holding them to the lowest output offensively that they've had under Lincoln Riley. They have to feel good about that. They have to feel like they're moving in the right direction. Now, Offensively, obviously there wasn't a whole lot to take home from that football game, but there are positives. Oklahoma State's a different animal. People talking about your coach getting fired, players opting out, players holding out, players phantom injuries, weird situations of guys not going back in football games. It just motivation level is totally different. I'd actually be very impressed if Oklahoma State won this game. I'm pretty heavy in Baylor's favor.
Yeah, the only thing making me think that Oklahoma State can win this one is Charlie Brewer's going to throw it 50-plus times. And when that happens, I don't think that's a particularly smart game plan. So, I mean,
here's
see,
the other thing.
man.
The last time a team was talking about firing their coach and it was going to be the end of the world and it was going to be a horrible loss was Texas against Kansas State, and they put up almost 70 points on Kansas State. So who knows?
Yeah. One more local college football thing, and that is with what is their 8th scheduled disruption of the year, Tulsa's game against Cincinnati on Saturday is canceled. Let's just say the Bearcats are too scared to come to T-Town and get that whooping, or they have the Rona. They got Rona issues, Ted. But these two teams will play in the American title game next week, which Cincinnati will host, which is a little annoying because Tulsa would have hosted that game if they would have won against the Bearcats this weekend. So Bearcats are ducking them, right? That's what happened. That's what's happening here. Now, I don't mind not seeing these two teams play 2 weeks in a row, but it is a little annoying. I have a feeling those players from Tulsa are like, really? Come on.
Yeah, and I think it was it Montgomery said that he would have been happy flipping a coin to see who hosts the game. I mean, do something. But I don't know. I'm with you. I think playing it once probably makes a lot of sense at this point. But, I mean, credit Tulsa. You know, the fact that they've hung in there with all the rescheduled football games, with all the disruptions that they've had. I mean, it's been a crazy season. They've kept their head down and kept playing football. And, I mean, I'm frustrated for them because they should have beat Oklahoma State. They should have won that game.
Yeah.
They had it. They had a chance to punch it in late, right there inside like the 10-yard line. Couldn't do it. So, frustrating for them. But nonetheless, what a season they put together. And I'm actually excited for that game.
Yeah. Going to be an interesting one. I can't wait. That should be fun. Come on, Golden Hurricane. You can do it. Let's go. Rain Kane. All right, Ted, let's move on to National College Football Roundup. That's brought to you by Insurica. Do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com. Okay. Biggest piece of news in all of college football. Michigan, Ohio State, the game was canceled because the Wolverines have got the Rona. We'll never know if Ryan Day and the Buckeyes would have scored 100 points on Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, which is a damn shame because it would have been absolutely hilarious to watch them try. But that left Ohio State one game short of the 6 needed to qualify for the Big Ten championship game. But because money rules everything, they changed the rule. And I'm not really mad about it. It seems like a lot of people are, but to me, Ohio State is clearly the best team in the conference. And this was some arbitrary rule that the leadership in the Big Ten, who continues to just mess this entire thing up, they just made that up for the season. And remember, they didn't even want to play the season in the first place. So they created this nightmare on their own. They had a nightmare to start off. Then they came back. Everyone made fun of them. Then they set rules that they didn't need to set. And now everyone's making fun of them for violating their own rules that they set for a season they didn't even want to play. But I knew that I was okay with this when Indiana, their athletic director, and their head football coach, Tom Allen, put a statement out saying, hey, we had our chance to beat Ohio State. They deserve to go. I thought that was classy as hell. And I was like, okay, if Indiana's all right with it, then I'm cool with it. So, Ted, I just have a hunch that you may feel differently about this than I do.
I hate this. I hate this. And everything good that I've ever said about Indiana's football team and their coach and their athletic director, I retract, because they're spineless cowards. They're only saying that because they want their college football playoff payout. What a bunch of bums. They're all going to sit there and tell us about how horrible we are for playing college football this season. How could you? How could you guys do this? And then we're going to allow them to weasel their way into the college football playoff. It's absurd. And quite frankly, Gabe, I'm upset with you for allowing this, because I don't care if
I did this. I was in the Big Ten meeting.
You are saying it's okay. You know, I get why they're doing it. Let me ask you a question. What if the Big Ten championship is canceled because of COVID? Should they still make the college football playoff?
I don't think they would get in.
Because if they're one of the four best teams right now, why do we need to see them play again? Why would anything change? Where's the cutoff? Is 5 games the cutoff? Is 4 the cutoff? Like, what's the number here? Because all we've done is throw everything out and say, we're just going to put Ohio State in. We don't care what else happens anywhere. We don't care about that. All we care about is putting Ohio State in. Ohio State is getting treated differently than anyone else. And there has to be a line between who the best 4 are and who has earned the right to play. A season is long and it's hard, and winning a championship is a bitch for a bunch of different reasons. Injury, guys getting kicked out, guys getting ejected for targeting. There's a million things that can go wrong in a season. That's why it's so hard to win a championship. And if a team's going to play 5 games when everyone else that's being involved in this thing is going to play 10, to me, there's no way I get on board. Like, I don't care if they play in the Big Ten Conference Championship. If they want to let them in, I don't care. Don't care about that at all. But I think it's total crap if people vote them into the college football playoff. They have not earned it. I'm sorry. Their schedule sucks. It's terrible. Their schedule is awful. They haven't beaten, other than Indiana, haven't beaten anyone else with more than 2 wins. I don't even know what we're talking about. If it was anyone else without the big O, the Buckeye on their helmet, they wouldn't be getting this treatment. They'd be discarded to the side. That's what makes me so mad.
I know. I understand where you're coming from. I do. But this is a great reminder that life is not fair. It's not. And the thing I keep coming back to is these players and coaches for Ohio State, it's not like it's their fault that they'll only play 5 games, right? I mean, this is, I don't think you punish
it's their school's fault.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you punish the players who, like, we can all acknowledge that they're a really damn good football team, right?
But so instead of punishing a Big Ten team, we'll punish an SEC team or a Big 12 team or an ACC team is what we're going to do instead.
Well, the Big 12 teams, they shouldn't have lost 2 games, right? I mean, we can agree on that. Like, if Iowa State hadn't lost to Louisiana, I think Iowa State would have a legit shot right now. Now, of course, they still got to beat Oklahoma in a Big 12 championship game, but I just think the players shouldn't be punished for the incompetent leadership in that conference. Because I think Ohio State, if they play the whole season, if they would have played something similar to the SEC, right? Who the hell in the Big Ten is going to beat Ohio State? Now, I know that they're not playing that many games, and I understand what you're saying, the attrition of a season, but also
Ohio State is not immune to losing to a shitty team. They've done that plenty of times in the past.
I know they have, but when you're comparing them to the other teams that are in the mix, right?
I don't compare them to the other teams in the mix. I don't. I discard them flatly. They're out. I don't even put them in my comparison.
See, that's where I look at it and I go, okay, I think Ohio State would beat A&M. I think it'd be a hell of a football game. I think A&M would run the ball on Ohio State, but I think Ohio State's a more talented team. Now, the one thing also,
but that's what I'm saying. There has to be a line between.
I don't know what
who
should the line be. That's where
and earning it. Well, it's a way more than 5 games.
I don't know what else you want them to do, though.
If they play equal games, well, you always have to end up going to the eye test. But it just shows us what a fraud the whole thing is, because I agree with that. They're discarding everything we've ever been told about the college football playoff. Well, their strength of schedule, horseshit. Oh, well, their quality wins. Nope, not that either. Oh, but you know what? Look at what they did, and it's just consistency. Crap. All of it's crap. Everything that they've told us is crap. It's all about how big of a program you are. That's what it is, in my opinion.
Teddy, it's all about how much money they can make. And when we're being real, Ohio State is a massive brand with a massive alumni base across the country. And there's a reason every year that Ohio State games pull the biggest numbers for Fox. People watch Ohio State. It's just the way it is. It's not fair, but I also think
I'm boycotting if they make the college football playoff. And I'm not sitting here trying to say that
what happens
Coastal
if
Carolina deserves to get in.
Gotcha.
But Coastal Carolina is taking a bigger team, a big independent BYU that's got better players, bigger players across the board, and they're playing them on 60 hours notice. Bring them on. Let's go. Let's play football. That's what pisses me off, is you have teams doing that don't even get scraps, and Ohio State's going to play 5 games and still get in.
But then
frustrates the hell out of me.
I understand what you're saying, but Ohio State would beat Coastal Carolina's ass.
I know.
I'm just,
I know.
And
I know.
And the reason, it's going to come down to, Florida, what happens with the Florida-Bama game in the SEC championship game, what happens with the rematch between Clemson and Notre Dame in the ACC championship game. But A&M had their shot at Bama, right? They had their shot. They got their ass kicked. Florida's going to have their shot at Bama. We'll see how they stack up. And if neither of those teams stack up and Florida gets blown out by Bama, well, I kind of want to see Ohio State have a shot in that 1-4 game. Let's see what they got.
I'd rather see Cincinnati.
Cincinnati got jumped by Iowa State, buddy. Cincinnati ain't getting in.
No, I know. I'm not saying they're going to. I know they're not going to.
That would be fun, though.
It's already been determined who's getting in. It's already done. Nothing else even matters. Like, why the hell do we even play a season? Who cares? Like, like I said, everything we've ever been told before is a total lie. It doesn't matter how many games you play. Data points don't matter. None of that matters. What they've proven is you can, if you're an Alabama, if you're Ohio State, probably if you're in Oklahoma, you can schedule your way into the college football playoff. So why even worry about playing big non-conference games anymore? Why even worry about it? Oh, the Big 12 should split up into divisions, 2 5-team divisions, play your own division, schedule a couple of horrible football teams, and we'll all just go undefeated.
You saw what Swarbrick said?
Yeah.
Notre Dame's AD?
Awesome. Of course, that's what he should say.
He's like, oh, it's good to know that you don't have to play 12 or 13 games. Good to know. Good to know. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
oh,
saying.
shit.
That's right. He's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay, so Purdue also canceled Tuesday to evaluate their COVID situation. Indiana then announced they had to cancel, and that game's off. So if you were hoping that Ohio State would be able to pick up and play one of those two teams, well, it ain't happening. Down in the SEC, Ole Miss, Texas A&M is postponed or canceled, whatever. Lane Kiffin's boys, they've got the Rona. And I know there's a possibility it gets played if something goes wrong with their games on the 19th, but that seems unlikely. So doesn't seem like Ole Miss A&M will get
That's
made
frustrating too, because Ole Miss is dangerous because they can score some points.
Yeah, I know. Me and you were looking forward to that one.
I know.
I wanted to see Jimbo Fisher sweat. I wanted to see them give up 40. Now, they were probably going to score over 50, but it would have been fun to watch them sweat a little bit. Okay, Ted, let's preview a couple of marquee games. And if we're being honest, not the best slate this weekend. I've got two games that I think could be really fun to watch. First one, number 17 North Carolina travels to take on number 10 Miami. This will be a 2:30 game. And I think it's a really interesting matchup because this one could come down to something as simple as Miami being able to stop the run. If they can slow down Javonte Williams and Michael Carter from North Carolina, I think they can get after Sam Howell with Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche coming off the edge, because those two dudes are creatures. And we saw what pressure can do to Sam Howell after watching that Notre Dame game, right? Especially that second half. He was not comfortable. But North Carolina, their defense, when you look at the games they've lost this year, they've really struggled with mobile quarterbacks. And Ted, the last time I checked, De'Aaron King is pretty damn mobile. Now, he came out and said, hey, I had the coronavirus. It wasn't great, but sounds like he's back. He's feeling good. And they rolled, what was it, Duke in their last game?
Yeah.
They absolutely
like what, 48-0, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So-
Miami has quietly flown under the radar. Maybe that's good for them to kind of be out of the limelight, but they've been discarded after they lost that game to Clemson. But they've played good football, man, and they're going to be right there in the hunt. I think they win this football game against North Carolina, and who knows what their bowl game looks like. I mean, they'll have a good chance, whoever that is. And I mean, if you would have told me that Miami finishes up, what would it be, a 10-1 football season, that's pretty dang good for Miami and something to build on for them. And who knows what they'll have coming back next year because of obviously the free year of eligibility. I don't know what everyone's status is going to be for Miami, but this has been a really good stepping stone year for Miami. If they can just go ahead and finish it, close it out.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited for that game. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
am
lie.
for sure.
The other game I like, number 15 USC. That is Southern Cal. That's the only team I call USC, by the way. I understand that people that maybe cheer for South Carolina call them USC. I just want to let you South Carolina fans know.
Do they really?
No one calls you that. No one calls it like it's – I mean, they shorten it USC. No one calls you that. Stop it. It's ridiculous.
Interesting. Yeah, I call USC Southern Cal. I think that's what they called them in the old days. That's what I call them now.
Well, number 15, Southern Cal,
Yeah.
will be taking on UCLA in the Rose Bowl. And USC or Southern Cal. Do I have to call them Southern Cal the whole time? I'll try. Southern Cal coming off a win against Washington State where they look pretty damn good, especially in that first quarter. That offense, and I know the Pac-12 is pretty irrelevant right now, but Keaton Slovis and Amon-Ra St. Brown, those guys aren't irrelevant. Those guys are damn good, and they're fun to watch. I think that is one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in all of college football. So I'm excited to watch them against Chip Kelly. And it looks like Chip Kelly maybe has finally got something going at UCLA. And Teddy, remember when we went out to the Rose Bowl for the OU UCLA game and we saw Demetric Felton and we were like, why don't they give that guy the ball more? Like he was an electric factory of a kind of a utility player, right? And we were like, why won't they give that guy the ball? Well, they're giving him the ball now, and it's going really well. That rushing attack is rolling, Ted.
Yeah, all I remember about that game, I felt like I was being tricked or something. I watched UCLA run the same play essentially the entire game and get destroyed. I thought Chip Kelly, I was like, did he bet against his own team? Like, what is happening right now? They're running directly to a brick wall over and over. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a fun game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's come on pretty strong this year. He's going to be back. He's looking good. But I think USC wins it, which I've got bad news for you, Clemson. I'm sorry you've got a loss because it looks like we could have a 6-0 Southern Cal Pac-12 champion. And you know what? Man, that undefeated season, you know, who knows? Who knows what would have happened had they played? What were they supposed to play? Alabama, right, in the non-conference? Who knows what would have happened? Who cares, really? They did go undefeated, though. So ipso facto, you know, we're going to have Alabama, Ohio State, Southern Cal, and Notre Dame. There you go. Undefeateds. Cancel the ACC game if you're Notre Dame. Why play it?
And
opt out. You're not even in the ACC anymore. Opt out.
Opt out.
No, we're good. We don't even want the championship. We're not really affiliated with the conference. We're undefeated.
The best part about this Southern Cal UCLA game, in my opinion, it is the most aesthetically pleasing game in all of college football. You're going to have USC, and I think they call it Cardinal, right? That red that they've got.
So they're the home team?
Well, no. The last couple times they played this game, USC wears the red and UCLA wears their blue. And
how about that?
And it's going to be on the green grass, the Rose Bowl.
Color rush at the Rose Bowl.
It is going to be a sexy uniform game. They better not change it. I've really enjoyed watching it.
It'll look the same as it always does in the stands, empty.
Correct.
Great.
Well, I don't think they're allowing fans either. So
right.
So
right.
It'll be empty. But yes, it was very empty. Actually, there was more OU fans when we made our trip to the Rose Bowl. Talk about an underwhelming experience. OU had gone to play Georgia in that game, and everyone was like, it's amazing. I was so excited to go watch a game at the Rose Bowl, and we got there, and I was like, you've got to be shitting me. This is terrible.
It was a glorified spring game. It was a scrimmage, practice.
It was awful.
At least UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
Easy win for the Sooners. All right, Ted, let's move on to our segments, and let's start with our winners and losers of the week. And Teddy's winners and losers are brought to you by Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs. They'll help you execute a realistic and achievable weight loss plan designed for you and only you. They've got all kinds of treatments for men and women. Their licensed and trained experts combine diet and exercise with hormone therapies to maximize your results. If you're struggling with low libido or low energy, Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs can help with that too. They also offer Botox and fillers. To get on the path to losing weight, call 918-241-LOSE or visit their Facebook page. If you mention the podcast, you will get a free fat burner injection. Okay, Ted, who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, for winner, this was simple to me because I love golf. I'm a big fan of Michael Jordan, and I like drones.
Nice.
And did you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Michael Jordan's new golf course in Florida, which, what is it? The Grove 23 is the name of the course. We're
never going to get on that golf course.
No,
damn it.
Never. When you order food and drinks, they deliver it to you on the course with a drone. It comes in, lands on the green, and drops off your 18 shots of Fireball right there onto the green. Amazing. That's got to be sweet.
I wouldn't even I like to think I know myself pretty well, right? I'm a self-aware human being. I am not to be trusted on that golf course. I'm trying to think of how many holes I'd make it through, because it'd be like, okay, and I'm sure you just order it like from your cart, right? I didn't dig into the details. So I saw the video, right, of the drone coming down and dropping it down in the basket. And I was like, I would drink a beer and take a shot like on each hole. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no way.
It's like, hey,
I'm not the man I once was, Ted. I don't know how far I'd make
charging. You can't order a drink every 7 seconds. Do you think there's a fat guy in a basement somewhere that drives the drones out to the players on the course?
I really hope so. You know who I hope it is? What was the guy's name? Remember in The Last Dance when Jordan made up that a guy talked shit about him, like talk shit to him? What was that guy's name? I bet you he's the guy that's controlling the drones. Like Jordan has banished him to be the drone driver guy.
I changed the blades on the drone is what I do. Used to be an NBA guy. No, I thought that was
MJ pays me well.
I thought that was pretty cool, though. It's one of those things that it may look cooler than it is. You know, I'm sure a lot of the old guys were going to miss hitting on the cart girl awkwardly, but, you know, it still looks like it's pretty cool.
Hey, some people, hey, once again, this is a judgment-free podcast. Maybe drones are kind of some people's thing. I don't know.
You never know.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
I thought about going with Oklahoma State because if they didn't just deuce themselves this year and screw up the whole season, we could have had all three Division I teams in Oklahoma in conference title games on championship weekend. But that is out the door. So instead, I settled on Texas. Pretty typical for me. It's either Oklahoma State or Texas. Quinn Ewers, you know who he is, right? The
number one quarterback in the country, I believe.
Number one quarterback in the country, was committed to Texas, decommitted after the rumor is he heard that Tom Herman was talking bad about his mechanics and his release and what kind of player he was. Decommits from Texas, and a couple weeks later commits to the Ohio State University, where he can go win 4 games and make it to the college football playoff every year. But what was really insult to injury here was he is only the 6th player ever to have a perfect composite score, recruiting score from the recruiting services. Do you know the other 5 players that have gotten the perfect score from the recruiting services?
I have. Can I guess?
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Trevor Lawrence in on there?
No.
Vince Young?
Yes, that's one.
Nice. Are we just talking quarterbacks?
No. All
Adrian
positions.
Peterson.
No.
Oh my gosh.
There are 3 defensive linemen, defensive end guys, a linebacker, and you already got Vince Young.
Clowney?
Clowney is 1. You've got 2.
So there's 2 more defensive line?
2 more defensive line and a linebacker.
Gosh, Gerald McCoy was way up there, but he couldn't have been perfect.
One of these guys was committed to an ACC school and decommitted and strangely went to a low-level SEC school.
Oh, I was going to say the Florida State kid, but no, he ended up going there. Strangely, what ACC school did he go to?
He was committed to Clemson.
And then went to a low-level SEC school?
They got busted for cheating.
I feel like this should be super obvious for me. And
He got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. That's the last hint you get.
Okay, I'm blanking on that. Let's come back to that one. I'll think about it.
Okay, the other one is, I think he went to Michigan.
Defensive lineman?
I was shocked by this one.
Defensive lineman that went to Michigan. Perfect.
I think it's Michigan.
This is really good. Just tell me the defensive lineman one.
This guy is Rashawn Gary.
Okay, that makes sense. He was a good player. I mean, he's a good player.
The other one is going to piss you off.
Don't tell me that one. But
and the linebacker, I played with him in Detroit. He went to an ACC school.
So he had to have been who else played linebacker with you there? Gosh, that was a long time ago. No offense.
Detroit took him with like the 10th pick of the 06 or 07 draft.
The first round. He was the 10th pick of the Detroit Lions. Dude, I don't remember.
12th. Ernie Sims, Florida State.
Huh. Yeah, I never would have gotten that. I don't think.
No, that's a hard one. But he was unbelievable at Florida State. The other one, you're going to be so pissed.
Okay, give me the hints one more time. Just one more time.
Was committed to Clemson, decommitted, and went to a low-level SEC school. Was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, God. The defensive lineman that flaked out. Cheating Old Miss kid with Hugh Freeze. Robert Candici.
Yep. Exactly.
God, he was a beast.
Yeah, he was a beast.
I can only imagine the people that listen to this podcast that are really into recruiting that were just screaming at me like, what is wrong with you?
What's he doing?
God.
Yeah, so Texas is a loser for losing out on that guy who was already committed to him until Tom Herman was running his big old fat mouth.
Oops. Okay, my winners and
they'll
losers
be quarterbackless again for the next decade.
Yikes. Maybe Ellinger will come back again. I think he is. I think our boy is done. He's had enough. All right, my winners and losers are brought to you by Sound Advice. A lot of us are watching our favorite football teams from home this year, which is why you need to get ready for game day with a home theater system from our friends at Sound Advice. Sound Advice can customize your home entertainment system indoors or outdoors. Sound Advice did the Wi-Fi network and all the audio visual in my new house, and it is awesome. They hide all the wires in the cable boxes so it looks great, and I can control every TV in my house from my phone, and my internet has been flawless. For the best home theater systems in the Oklahoma City area, call Sound Advice at 405-549-3880 or visit soundadviceokc.com. Okay, Ted, I thought about going with Jalen Hurts because he's going to get his opportunity there in Philadelphia, but then I realized he's getting his first start in the National Football League behind a patchwork offensive line against the New Orleans Saints defensive line, and yikes, that's not going to go well. Going to go well.
It's going to be ugly.
My winner of the week, it has to be Iowa State. They're up to number 7 in the college football playoff rankings, and honestly, I never thought that program would get that high in one of these rankings. I didn't, and it's kind of hard for me to shake what Iowa State was when I was playing. I mean, it was not a game you worried about. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but it's just not a game that you thought that you had any chance of losing. And Breece Hall has been fantastic. Brock Purdy is playing at an elite level over the last month. That defense continues to be really solid, even though it feels like no one's talking about their defense right now. And then Matt Campbell has done one hell of a job. And from some of the things I've been hearing, like, it sounds like Matt Campbell, if he's going to stay and keep coaching college football, he's really only interested in Ohio State and Notre Dame. So I don't think Iowa State's going to lose them to Michigan. I don't. So not only are they keeping their coach, they're playing extremely well, but they also get an extra week to prepare for Oklahoma for the conference championship game. I mean, this is a damn good week for the Cyclones, Ted.
No, it is. And honestly, I think it may be the highest they've ever been ranked. Now,
it's gotta be.
We played them in 2002, and Seneca Wallace was there, and they had beaten Florida State. He was up for the Heisman, and I think they were ranked like number 9, and then they came to OU, and we beat their ass. They got like 50 yards of total offense on us. But I think that's the highest they've been. At that time, I feel like that was the highest they'd ever been ranked. And now they're all the way up at number 7. That's got to be. And I'll tell you right now, if we show up against Iowa State the way we showed up against Baylor, we'll lose that football game.
Not only will they lose, they'll get run off the field.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa State, they are feeling themselves, and they should
They are.
be.
Their defense they're playing well. They've had some ups and downs this year, but they got it together right now. They seem to be really healthy, and I mean they're going to be playing their best football going into that game.
Yeah. Okay, my loser of the week, I thought about going with Greg Zuerlein because how about we make a field goal, Greg? How about we make the game interesting? Like, it would have been fun, but you ruined it, Greg. Thanks. Poor Cowboys fans.
And it just pisses me off because one of the things that I've never done in my life up until this last week is put myself in a position to root for the Dallas Cowboys. And by saying they were going to win that game outright, I did exactly that.
You looked smart through like the first quarter. I was like, Teddy, look at you, bud.
Well, until their kicker misses 3 field goals. I mean, if he can put the ball through the uprights, it's a totally different football game. Now, I don't know that they win it, but it would play out totally different.
You robbed us of entertainment, Greg the Leg.
Yep.
How dare you? How dare you do that? Especially Tuesday Night Football is sacred. How dare you?
Right.
But my loser of the week. Now, Teddy, I don't know if you've heard about this, but have you ever watched the show Below Deck? Are you familiar with one of the best programs that Bravo has to offer?
Would you feel differently about me if I said, yes, I've seen a lot of this show?
I would actually look you straight in the eye and say, you've got someone to watch Below Deck with, and that would be me.
Okay. I'll watch it with my wife, but watching it with you, I think that's a little bit much. But yeah, my wife has that show on all the time. I'm not totally up to date, but I get it. I know what's happening there. I've watched quite a bit of that show.
Okay, so let me explain to you how Below Deck and college football became one, and it has become quite the story this week. So my loser of the week is UNLV quarterback Max Gilliam. Now, it's not because the Rebels are 0-5. You know, that certainly doesn't help things, but it has everything to do with an apology he issued this week. So you know the show, right? For those of you that don't, Below Deck is a show on Bravo where they follow the crew of a super yacht, right? People rent the boat out. They come on, they take care of them. They cook for them. They do everything for them. So they talk about the guests that are on the boat, and they also follow the crew because the crew, they're all like sleeping with each other. They're partying when they get their days off. It's pretty fantastic trash TV. That's what it is. It is. So a lot of things happen on that show with the people that are chartering the yacht. And UNLV QB, Max Gilliam, was part of a group that chartered the yacht. It was a bunch of young kids, right? I'd assume UNLV, a lot of people there's people there in Vegas. They got some money, right? And
yes, that is not cheap.
It was a bunch of like 20-something-year-old kids living it up on a yacht, and they were having an awesome time. But this became a story this week because on this episode that Max Gilliam was on, and they were filming it on the yacht in, I think I read it was February and March. So it was pre-Rona, right? But on the episode that aired, UNLV's starting quarterback ate sushi off a naked lady. And UNLV's coaching staff, or is it Arroyo there, who's the head coach now? They didn't, this aired in November, and this probably doesn't, it's not great for Gilliam that people didn't recognize him until now, but
yeah, if they don't make him issue the apology, no one ever knows who he is.
Exactly. So Marcus Arroyo came out and was like, yeah, we're aware of it, but the reason that Gilliam's my loser of the week is because he issued an apology saying this wasn't how he was raised. this didn't reflect the culture of UNLV football, saying all this stuff. And I'm like, man, listen, you are a college football quarterback. And, people can think what they want about what you did. And the producers were the one that asked him to do it, and he did it. I mean, he's a 20-something-year-old kid. But if you're UNLV and you're trying to create a culture, being on a super yacht and eating sushi off a naked lady, I think that could help recruiting. I'm just saying. And if he doesn't, you said it, Teddy, if he doesn't issue the apology, no one really knew who he was anyways. Some people that really follow college football knew who he was, but a lot of people had no idea. If he didn't say anything, this really isn't a story. So not only did you not take advantage of the recruiting opportunity that this could have been, but he issues an apology and brings all this attention that never would have come his way, ever. I was like, kid, what are you doing? Hey, live life, buddy. Have fun. Nice. But what are you doing?
For the 10 minutes of time when people knew who he was and knew what he did, that brief little 10 minutes is like every recruit in the country was calling their friends saying, bro, I'm going to UNLV. Come with me. Let's
Have you
go.
seen this? Have you heard of Below Deck?
And then whenever they issue the apology, it's all out the window. But, I mean,
Political
sorry,
correctness.
it's why.
I don't even know. I don't know why. I mean,
did
I don't
he
know
do?
what to say.
Did he do something inappropriate?
No, he
did-
did. I mean, no,
Did the model, was she upset? Did he?
no.
Okay.
I watched the episode. I went and checked. I was like, this is a wholesome
Tell me
interaction.
what's happened here. I mean, is it like the most becoming thing that you want on national television? No, but I mean, I'd be more worried. Like, what's he apologizing for? He wasn't laying there naked, right?
That would have been interesting if if the tables would have been turned. I would have been like, huh, Max.
Okay. I mean,
But still, if a naked lady's eating sushi off him, then like, okay. I mean,
sounds like art to me,
exactly, art. I just thought, I was like, why is this kid bringing attention? No one knew it was you, bro. What are you doing? But I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious. So I had to share that with people.
Great. That's great. He could have been your winner and your loser at the same time.
He was going to be my winner, and then he apologized. I had someone who is a fellow Below Deck watcher text me and was like, hey, have you heard that this kid is actually the quarterback at UNLV? And I was like, that's awesome. He's going to be my winner of the week on the pod. And then the apology comes out, and I'm like, ugh.
So when are we going on Below Deck? When are we going to rent the yacht out?
I think we got to sell some more podcast ads first, bud.
Maybe they'd buy some time on the show.
We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. All right, Ted, let's wet the beak. Maybe that's the way we get it. We've been really good on this segment. Let's wet the beak. And that's brought to you by Tim Hughes Custom Homes. Are you looking to build your dream home? If so, Tim Hughes is the man you're looking for. Tim Hughes Custom Homes is a one-stop shop for all your home building needs. He can find you a lot. He can find you an architect. He'll find you financing. And, of course, he can build your dream home exactly the way you want it. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, Tim found my wife and me a lot. He found us an architect and built our new house. Tim and his team are so easy to work with. He is still helping us when we have questions about things around the house. He's also built several office buildings. So if your business is looking to build a custom office, Tim Hughes is your man. You can see Tim's custom builds throughout Gaillardia, Nichols Hills, Oak Tree, Stone Mill, and Rose Creek. It is a great time to build the house of your dreams. For more information to see Tim's spectacular work, visit his Instagram page at Tim Hughes Custom Homes or visit timhughescustomhomes.com. Okay, so Thursday Night Football is a solid matchup. You got Patriots, Rams. You also got a couple of good ones on Sunday. But, Ted, I want to talk about Sunday Night Football between Pittsburgh and Buffalo because you picked the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. They are coming off that loss against the Washington football team. It seems like they'd been playing with fire in a couple of games this season, but they were undefeated up to that loss against Washington. Now, I don't think there's any doubt that the Steelers' defense is Super Bowl caliber. But Big Ben and that offense, they've had their struggles, right? So Now, Buffalo, you look at Josh Allen. He's playing some really good football. This is a team that is really fun to watch. Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs has been great. But the reason this game is so interesting to me is what is on the line for the Steelers, especially if they lose. Because if they lose, then it starts looking like Kansas City is going to end up with that number 1 seed in the AFC. And then they are going to get that coveted bye, right? That only one team in each conference gets this year. And also, a loss for the Steelers, it makes it awfully interesting there in the AFC North because Baker Mayfield and the Browns are lurking, Teddy. They are lurking. So Buffalo is a 2.5-point favorite at home. Remember, Pittsburgh's playing this game kind of on short rest. It's been a weird schedule for them lately. I think I like the Bills. I mean, I was really impressed with what I saw from Josh Allen the other night.
Yeah, I think the Bills look really good. Josh Allen looked fantastic the other night.
I didn't think you could become more accurate as a quarterback, and it's like each year it seems like he's getting more accurate and more accurate. It always was like accuracy is one of those things you have or you don't. I'll give that kid some credit. He's worked at it, man. He's much better.
Worked at it, and it also helps whenever you're able to throw from a good platform and from a good pocket.
Yeah,
and they've done a lot better job in that regard for him. He's making great use of his weapons. They got a good, solid defense. The Steelers situation is interesting. I will give them a bit of a pass. I think they're playing 3 games in 12 days, I think. So really brutal for them. It's been a tough year. They've battled through some injuries. Connor's been out. Defense is still playing great. They do need to get that offense rolling. They need to get their running game back. So we'll see what happens there. But it's interesting because I think the Browns have the Ravens and they end with the Steelers. That's the final game, I believe. So, yeah, if the Browns win out and the Steelers continue to stumble a little bit, that final game of the season could be really interesting. So, yeah, I think it's this is the time of the year in the NFL where every game really starts to matter, and it's going to be a lot of fun down the stretch. Buffalo's a favorite at home. I mean, I think I'd probably say they win by a field goal. I feel like this Steelers team is reeling right now. I think they're tired and going on the road. Beat up. It's not a long road trip. It's a super easy road trip for them. But I don't know. I would lean towards what looks like a really fresh, energized Buffalo Bills football team right now.
Yeah, and how many guys can the Steelers lose on that defense and keep playing really, really good defense? I mean, they've lost their best defensive lineman now, right? Bud Dupree goes out, lost their best linebacker early in the year. Like, it's actually kind of impressive that they're playing so well still.
You'll hit some. I mean, at some point, and you know this, the NFL season is brutally long. And if you're dropping players, you're going to hit a wall. Some of those replacement guys that weren't expecting to be starters and big-time contributors are going to hit a wall. So it helps to be, just one loss to keep you energized and keep you motivated and playing well. But I don't know. I do feel like of all of the teams right now at the top, the Steelers feel like possibly the weakest.
Yeah. I couldn't remember his name. It just came to me, though. Devin Bush. God, that's the guy that – I think he tore his ACL. And I was watching the game when it happened, and I was sitting next to my wife, and I go, that guy just tore his ACL. She goes, how do you know? I go, I just know. So I'm going to lay the 2.5, too. I like Buffalo in that game. This is one of those games where a really good Steelers team is coming to Buffalo. It's Sunday Night Football. It is an absolute shame. And I know the situation we're in right now with the coronavirus. It sucks for all of us. But it breaks my heart that Bills Mafia can't go to this game. And I don't even want to know what would have happened in the pregame tailgates. It would have been quite the scene, Ted.
It's just not the same with a big game in Buffalo and there's a goal line stand and there's not sex toys flying onto the field. It's just It's not the same.
Just beer and dildos everywhere. Let's go. All right, Ted, let's finish up with Keeping It Local. We'll highlight what's going on in the great state of Oklahoma. And that's brought to you by Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School. As schools reopened in the fall, parents wanted to provide the best possible educational experience and spiritual development for their children. So they sent them to Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School. A 1-to-1 iPad setting makes McGuinness students fully prepared to continue high-level learning from home. A 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio guarantees no student is overlooked. In addition to athletic programs and clubs, Bishop McGuinness's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. Financial aid is available. For more information, visit bmchs.org. Okay, so I know we've been talking a lot of basketball in this recently, but I wanted to talk about something that I saw on News 9 and that it really, really gets me going. And that is Porch Pirates. I hate Porch Pirates. I despise them. I think there is a special section of hell for people that steal other people's packages off their porch during the holidays, which is why I was glad when I saw this on News 9, and that is law enforcement across the OKC Metro. They've had it with the Porch Pirates, Ted. They've had it. The Oklahoma City County Sheriff's Office has decided to step up their patrols. They are following delivery trucks now, and when packages are getting delivered, they're waiting around a little bit to see if the scum of the earth shows up to maybe snatch a little something off someone's porch. And you got to remember, the Porch Piracy Act of 2020 also took effect November 1st here in the state. So if someone commits porch piracy, I believe it's 3 times in 60 days, something like that, they can be charged with a felony, meaning they could have to serve up to 2 to 5 years in prison or be fined up to $5,000 or both. I am here to tell you that anyone that commits 3 acts of porch piracy in 60 days, they should go to jail. I think those people, and pay the full fine, because those people are the worst people on planet Earth in my mind. If you have the audacity to go up to someone's porch and steal a package during the Christmas season, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you are the absolute worst human being on the planet. Because now this may stem from last year when someone stole pajamas that we got for ourselves and also matching pajamas that we got for our dogs. We do this thing. It's a Christmas tradition.
Oh my God.
This anger may stem from being a victim of porch piracy last Christmas season. That may be where this anger stems from, Ted. But
hey, let me just say
put them all in jail is what I'm saying. Put them all in prison. I know we're trying to reduce the prison population in the state. Put all the porch pirates in jail. They deserve it. They're the worst.
Whoever stole that box off of your porch ran back to the car, got home, ran inside, opened up that box, and said,
they pulled into our driveway, bro.
"What the hell?"
At our old house.
They got us.
Like, parked, casually went up to the porch. Dude, I ripped our security people. Because, like, we had cameras and everything. I was like, dude, what are you good? Like, because my wife was upset. It's like
so
one of the Christmas traditions we have. We get these matching pajamas. We get them for the dogs. Like, we take this picture. It's a thing. I don't care. Judge me if you want for that.
No,
but
I think it's great. I think the tradition is fantastic. I just think it's funny as hell that someone grabbed that package hoping for a new iPad and got dog pajamas.
I think I even tweeted about it. I was like, hey, congrats on the dog pajamas. You're the worst. Like,
hey, I'll tell you though, this Porch Piracy Act of 2020 is great. Nothing says we're taking a hard stand against something like do it 3 times in 60 days.
That's what I saw. I was like, no. I think we need to be a little more severe with the punishment with one instance of porch piracy.
Don't you think? I mean, since when is it okay to steal something off someone's porch? And now you can do it 3 times?
I am fine going on record saying this. I think now I'll say hypothetically or allegedly. I'll use allegedly, right? That's what lawyers tell you to use. Let's say someone allegedly tries to steal something off my porch this Christmas season. Let's say that I will allegedly shoot them and not feel bad about it. Teddy, I have a feeling allegedly you fall in a similar camp, allegedly, of course.
Yeah. Do you keep a spare gun at your house that you can plant on the suspect if you if you shoot him?
I do not. I do not allegedly. This is hypothetical, of course.
You don't want to end up serving life in prison, Gabe, over shooting someone over dog pajamas. That's not what you want to do.
That's a good point. But okay, I will retract my alleged scenario and alleged statements, and I will say this:
you could tase the hell out of them.
If you roll up to my front door and I see you trying to steal something off my porch, I am coming out there. I haven't run in a while. It's been actually since March of 2018, so I don't know. I don't know what kind of speed I'm working with anymore. I will run you down and beat your ass, or at least kick one hell of a dent in the side of your car and probably break a few windows.
I mean,
it's not going to be worth it, gang. That's what I'm telling you.
It's a big risk now because pretty much everyone I know has some type of camera system at their house.
But people still, they see the Ring doorbells and they like wave and then they steal people's shit. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to have something out like on your mailbox that's looking to the side so you can get license plates. If you can't get the license plate, it really don't matter if you see their face.
Yeah. Oh, we got cameras for that now at the new house, buddy. We locked and loaded. We learned. All right, Ted. Episode 67. God, I hate Porch Pirates. Episode 67 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Monday morning. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on Sports Talk 1400. Stop laughing. I'm trying to finish it. 1400. You can hear me.
Dog pajamas. Yes.
You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great week and weekend. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.
Then tell me that you love me, if it's true. I don't want no one, girl, if I can't have you. This Oklahoma breakdown, I know it's got you crying. Let me tell you that I love you one more time. And tell me that you love me, if it's true. I don't want no one, girl, if I can't have you. This Oklahoma breakdown, I know it's got you crying. Let me tell you that I love you one more time. Just one more time. Let me tell you one time, you know. Just one more time. Let me tell you that I love you for just one more time.